In this video, I'm going to mount the wheels on my big bandsaw, put a blade on it, and actually make some test cuts. I'm starting by making the front mounting block for the lower wheel mount. And a quick check to see how it fits. I'm recessing the screw heads quite a ways just to accommodate the length of screws I happen to have at hand. And transferring the pallet hole locations by whacking the screws so they leave divots in the wood. Quick check to make sure the shaft is in there square. For now, I'm attaching it with just 2 screws so I can still tweak it. I'll put more screws and glue in there later. The washer helps me line up the center punch in the middle. Next I need to make a top wheel mount frame that slides up and down in here. That wheel mount frame will get pulled up by a threaded rod and it holds this part which holds the shaft. I've drawn it up in CAD and here's the pieces for it, and ideally I would box joint these in the corners, but if you don't have a Screw Advanced box joint jig you can't really do that, so I'll show another method. Some of you wonder why I use a glue container instead of a glue bottle. Well, the glue container never plugs up, and when I'm done I can just cover it up and the glue will stay good for a long time. Now I need to cut some slots in the corners for some splines, and that's best done with a table saw sled. This little block makes sure this is going to be at a 45-degree angle. Then I'm going to have this block here to position it laterally. This needs to fit in the slots in here, so I have to cut a notch out of it here and here. I had to tweak the shape a little bit, but now it fits. The upper shaft goes through here, and that goes in here, but to support that shaft against the wheel pulling down, it's going to get mounted against this block, which also needs a hole in it. I keep turning the workpiece as I drill to make sure that the hole is at a right angle to it. Oops. While I'm waiting for the glue to dry on that, I need some way to pull this up to apply blade tension. So I'm going to add a carriage bolt here to pull this up. These two bits of wood will act as a spring. This block fits in the frame like this, and I need to be able to tilt it just a little bit, just a few degrees. So I'll just screw it on down here and they'll have enough give to it for the tilt. Now before I screw this together, I need something to push apart like this to give me a tracking adjust. And I'll just put a bolt through there, and I'll use a T-nut for the thread right here. So I just adjusted it so it tracks on center, but you can hear that bit of noise there. That's because the rubber is still sticky. Looking at it with a ruler, you can see the lower wheel is tilted upwards a tiny little bit. So I need to shim the front of it to go down just a bit. This is always exciting, seeing a blade run on it for the first time. This is just a 1/3 horsepower motor with a 2-inch pulley on it. I plan on running this bandsaw about twice as fast as this. Now unfortunately you can see this blade jumped back and forth a little bit, and that's going at the same rate as the blade is going around in the round, and that's because this blade unfortunately has a slightly crooked weld on it. I'm not sure how well this will show up, but the weld is right here. And if I put a ruler against it on this side to line up with the blade, as we move to the right, the blade gradually moves away from the ruler. So the weld is crooked this way, like this. So if I hammer the blade near the teeth, that should cause it to bend back a little bit. By the way, this is not the first time I've straightened the weld this way. Not perfect, but better than it was. Now this part is always exciting for me. It's time to make the first cut on this bandsaw. I used 132-inch blade length in the design, but at the store they only had 133 inches, so I had to add these spacers here to bring this up a little bit. I think I'll just make these prongs a little bit taller in the plans. The cut wasn't totally square, but close enough. This little plate keeps the tracking adjustment screw from digging into the wood too much. For the tracking adjust, I want some kind of star knob like this one, but a little bit bigger. So I printed out some templates and I'll cut that out on the bandsaw. Sorry, I keep forgetting. If you're building a bandsaw, maybe you don't already have one. So you could just make a straight knob like this, or wait until the rest of the bandsaw is done and then make the knob. I was thinking about adding a screw and washer to the back as well to keep the shaft from sliding forward, but this one is jammed in there so tight I don't think I need that. And with it working so far, I'm confident enough to glue this part in place. I am putting a screw and washer on the back of the bottom shaft though, and rather than cutting it off to the right length, I just made a spacer. The next thing that this bandsaw will need is blade guides. I've already made a mock-up of the upper blade guide, and making that will be the subject of my next video.